Hi there, it is me, DdudeGames, and today I'm going to be showing all of the games that I completed in 2022, and there are a few games that I did play in 2022 but was not able to beat. But how I tracked all of these games that I've played this year is I used a website called How Long to Beat. It is a website that I use pretty frequently. I've been using it for about 2 years or so now, and it helps you tackle all of the games that you have yet to beat, so you add it to your backlog. Yeah, it's a really easy website to use. It's free to use, and I recommend using it. And yeah, that is what I use for seeing what games I have yet to beat and what games that I have not beaten. If you're wanting to go to the website of How Long to Beat, it is also down in the link in the description below. But before we get into the games that I have beat this year, the games that I was not able to beat that I played were Sonic Frontiers, Genshin Impact, Guild Wars 2, Baldur's Gate 3, Slime Rancher, Warframe, and Deep Rock Galactic. The reason why I was not able to beat some of them are endless, so they don't really have an ending. Kind of like a game that you just play constantly, and some of them are MMOs, which they are constantly being updated, and other factors. Genshin Impact always gets updates, and it's a gacha system. Guild Wars 2, kind of the same way, but free to play MMO. Pretty good. So all those games that I mentioned are really good, except Zuma I was not able to beat just for the fact the levels got really hard at the very end. So yeah, all those games I guess I'm kind of adding to my backlog. Some of them I guess retire them because they are continuous, but they are definitely fun games that I will try to revisit in the future. But for the first game that I beat this year was WarioWare Smooth Moves for the Wii. It's kind of weird that this was the game that I decided to, play through and beat like the story mode, I guess. And my goodness, it is a very good game with wacky mini games. What WarioWare is known for. Some are really entertaining, some are just flat out weird, but overall I would say WarioWare was a good game for me to beat at the beginning of the year. And then the next game that I beat was Pokemon Legends Arceus. Thing with that game, I actually thought it was really good. It felt like a breath of fresh air into the Pokemon series, which I feel like it needed it. And it was something different that Pokemon experimented with, and I ended up really liking it, and it wasn't too bad. A lot of it was mostly filling out the Pokedex, and that was like the main objective, unlike previous entries where it was gym leaders, Elite Four. You have this Arceus phone transported from another world back in time. I thought it was really good, enjoyed my time with that one. The next game that I beat was The Legend of Heroes Trials of Cold Steel 2, so I beat the second one this year. It's a really long RPG. I definitely think it's a worth playing RPG. I feel like it's more story based. Gameplay's pretty good too, but not too bad of a sequel. I would definitely recommend playing it. You just gotta play the series, or the Trails series. Brother is really into them. It's a very fun RPG, not gonna lie. For the next game that I beat was the Reignited trilogy. I decided to play through that because that was in my backlog for a while, and I was like, what is a good game for me to beat? And that's what I chose for that specific month, which I believe I beat it in March. So that's when I played it. But yeah, I really like the Spyro Reignited trilogy. The remake, Activision actually did really well, surprisingly, because I've played the original PS1 versions of Spyro and felt about the same, and if I had the decision, I guess I would probably play the Reignited trilogy, but they're both great. If you play the original, you play the remake. I would say it's very solid, and definitely say you should beat it as well. Then for the next game that I beat this one with my friends, and it was Overcooked 2. Not Overcooked 1, which I have yet to beat, surprisingly. I don't even think I own Overcooked 1, but I decided to play the sequel, because why not? And it's a very hectic couch co-op cooking game, but yeah, it is really, really good. Really, really chaotic, definitely. You shove your friends around trying to move around in a small kitchen, and you have to almost have like a tactic going in. I definitely recommend playing the Overcooked series. It's really fun. You definitely have to play it multiplayer, not a single player, but definitely recommend it if you, for a New Year's game or whenever you have family around. It's definitely a game to play with family and friends. But for the next game that I beat was Elden Ring, and that game was great. It definitely was the game of the year for me. It was hard. Some of those bosses were crazy. My goodness, it was a huge game. There was so much to do, so many classes, so many things. It was just like, if that's a $60 game to get, that's worth the $60 in my opinion. Yeah, it is my favorite game that I played this year. Graphics were good, fantastic. The bosses, as I said, were hard. I remember this fire giant that I stuck on for who knows how long. Almost wanted to break my controller, but yeah, you can summon friends as well, which I may have done. This game kicks your butt. Definitely deserves game of the year, in my opinion. Definitely recommend Elden Ring if you have not played it. It is probably one of the better games to play in the Soul series, you know. For the next game that I completed, it was around June-ish. It was Mortal Kombat Deception. I beat Mortal Kombat Deadly Alliance, so I thought, you know what? Might as well play through Mortal Kombat Deception. I like the 3D Mortal Kombat games a lot. Some people don't like them, but I find them to be not too bad. And then for the next game that I beat, I got all the achievements on Steam, and it was Stick Fight. And Stick Fight is kind of like Super Smash Brothers in a way, but you just have stick figures, and it is worth it if you are bored of Super Smash Brothers and wanting to play a game that is really fun and very chaotic. It's a multiplayer focus, so you play by yourself. Make sure to play online. Stick Fight was very fun. Some of those power-ups are great, and some kills are like literally insane if you can pull them off. And then going into July, I beat Donkey Kong Country because I have the Nintendo Switch Online, and that was a game that I hadn't really ever gone into. I don't think I've ever played a Donkey Kong Country game, so I might as well play the first one, and I really enjoy it as a classic. Definitely try to play Donkey Kong Country 2 whenever I have the chance. Yeah, you gotta play Donkey Kong Country. For July, late July, I played Borderlands, which was the first Borderlands. I've never played the Borderlands franchise, and I will say Borderlands is definitely worth it. Played that one also multiplayer, and the world is super steampunk. Very, very apocalyptic world you're set in with Borderlands. Is a great shooter, looter, shooter, collectathon, kind of collect stuff, I guess. But yeah, that was a great game. Definitely will try to play the second one here soon. And then for August, I replayed Persona 4 Golden for the PC. Great franchise that Persona is. The RPG mechanics are great. The story is great. I've only played 3, 4, and 5. Those are really good games to start off with in the Persona franchise. You can put so many hours into it. Same thing with Elden Ring, I should have mentioned that. The mechanics of Persona 4 Golden is great. Probably one of my favorite games of all time. So that's why I decided to replay that. And then for September, I played Frog Gun. Frog Gun is a really interesting one. It kind of reminds me of the graphic style of like Mega Man Legends. Mega Man Legends on the PlayStation 1 mixed within like 90s platforming. I would say it was very fun, but later game it was really frustrating. For some weird reason, the gun wasn't working for me. I don't know why it wasn't, but the frog gun mechanic, when I was jumping up in the air, trying to do some of the platforming kind of got really hard at the end, and some of the last few bosses were really weird. I think there was an update to fix some of the bosses, but I beat the bosses before the update, so I don't know if that could have been the issue, but still, nonetheless, it was a really fun game. For the game I beat in October-ish, I replayed Zelda Ocarina of Time, and I emulated it, and it was like a randomizer playing through it, because all the items are randomized and all the stuff is randomized. And yeah, if you have a PC and wanting to emulate it, or emulate a version to play a randomizer of Zelda Ocarina of Time, I definitely recommend it. It was pretty interesting. I've never really done any randomizers before, so yeah, that is something that I did. And then for the last game that I have completed for the year, it was Pokemon Violet. So I started with a Pokemon game, and now I end with the Pokemon game for the end of the year, because they released 2 Pokemon games in 1 year, so yeah. This one, I will admit, is a step down from Pokemon Legends in my opinion. They released it, it was very, very glitchy. Some of the updates have helped a little bit, but the frame rate is bad. It kind of reminds me of the Sun and Moon, and even Ultra Sun and Moon on the original 3DS. For some weird reason, they just, I don't know what it is, but frame rate wise, it just is not a good experience. But I think I would say Pokemon Violet wasn't too bad. I'm kind of disappointed with it. I would hope that they improve for the next entry in the Pokemon game, at least take a break, or give more development time for it. But what can you do? I'm not Game Freak. That would be it for all the games that I completed for this year in 2022, and yeah, I hope you guys enjoyed this video. And what games did you beat in the year 2022? Leave in the comments down below. Anyways, I will see you in my next video. Bye-bye.